All right, let's get right into it. We all like to think we're pretty rational, right? But what if I told you that the very organ you're using to think with, your brain, has a pretty big secret? It turns out making mistakes in how we think isn't some kind of personal flaw. It's actually a built-in feature of how our brains are wired. And understanding this secret, well, that's the absolute first step to becoming a sharper thinker. Okay, take a good look at this image. The question is simple. Are those main horizontal lines running across the screen perfectly parallel? I mean, really look. What are your eyes telling you? It seems obvious, doesn't it? They look totally crooked, kind of wavy, pointing all over the place. And here's the twist. They are perfectly parallel. I know, it's hard to believe. You can literally take a ruler to your screen and check. Now, this isn't just some fun party trick. It's a powerful demonstration of a huge idea. What you perceive is not a perfect recording of reality. Your brain is an active interpreter. And you know what? Sometimes it gets things wrong. What you just experienced there is a process called inference. That gut feeling, that knowing the lines were crooked, wasn't just raw data from your eyes. Nope. It was a conclusion your brain jumped to, all on its own. We tend to think of inference as something a detective does, consciously piecing together clues. But the truth is, your brain is an inference machine, running 24/7, unconsciously drawing conclusions to build the world you experience. So, you gotta ask, why? Why would our brains be built this way? Why not just show us the world exactly as it is? Well, it's because our brains didn't evolve to be perfect little scientists. Their number one job for hundreds of thousands of years has been survival, keeping us alive long enough to find food, avoid being food, and pass on our genes. And for that job, a quick, good enough guess is often way better than a slow, perfectly accurate one. So, if our brain isn't just a passive recorder, what on earth is it doing? Well, that brings us to our first big idea. Your brain doesn't just see the world, it actively projects the reality that you experience. We love the analogy of our eyes being like a camera, just passively taking in a perfect snapshot of the world. But neuroscientist David Eagleman has a much better way to think about it. He says our brain is less like a camera and more like a newspaper editor, deciding what makes the front page. And think about what an editor cares about. The front page of your reality isn't the full, boring story. It's a summary. It's designed to grab your attention, highlighting the important stuff. It's screaming headlines like, "Danger, pay attention," or "Hey, food over here." Your brain is constantly building this custom front page to help you get through the day in one piece. Now, it's not just our five senses doing all this editorial work. A huge part of this process involves something we often blame for bad thinking, our emotions. See, our bodies are always trying to stay in balance. It's a state called homeostasis. Most of this is totally automatic. But when your body really needs you to do something, it sends a signal you can't ignore. When your blood sugar drops, a whole chain of events creates the feeling of hunger. That feeling isn't irrational. It's critical data, telling you, hey, you need to eat. It's a behavior necessary for survival. But your brain is even smarter than that. It doesn't just react, it anticipates. This is a process called allostasis. Imagine you hear a sudden, loud rustle in the bushes at night. Before you even consciously know what it is, your heart is pounding, you're on high alert. That feeling of fear is your brain using past experiences to prep your body for a potential future, like fighting or running for your life. It's getting you ready for action. And this all leads to a really profound insight, summed up perfectly by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. He says that without our feelings, we're not more rational, we are less rational. Our emotions aren't the enemy of reason. They are a fundamental part of it, feeding us vital information about ourselves and the world around us. Okay, so this constant back and forth between our automatic systems and our conscious mind brings us to one of the most important ideas for understanding how we think, the difference between fast and slow thinking. Take a look at this woman. What's she feeling? A little worried? Maybe concerned? You didn't have to pull out a spreadsheet to figure that out, did you? You just knew instantly. That right there is fast thinking. It's automatic, it's effortless, it's our brain on autopilot. All right, now try this one. What's 24 times 14? Go ahead, try to do it in your head. Feel that? That sense of strain, the need to focus and block everything else out? That is the feeling of slow thinking. It's deliberate, it's hard work, and it demands your full attention. So we basically have these two modes of operating.
Fast thinking is fantastic for things like reading someone's mood or driving a route you take every day. Slow thinking is what you have to switch on for that math problem or trying to assemble confusing furniture. And here's the catch. While fast thinking is super efficient, it's also where most of our errors come from. Slow thinking is much more reliable, but it costs us.
And what it costs is energy, real biological energy. Slow, conscious thinking burns a lot of glucose and requires more oxygen. So from an evolutionary perspective, our brains are kind of lazy. They are hardwired to avoid that hard work whenever possible. It's all about conserving precious resources, so it defaults to mental shortcuts. And this brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the consequences of our brain's love of shortcuts. Let's dig into how and why your brain cheats when faced with a tough problem. The official term for these mental shortcuts is a heuristic. But don't let the fancy word fool you. It's just a rule of thumb. It's a strategy your brain uses to find a good enough answer fast, without having to fire up that expensive, slow-thinking machinery. So how does this work in the real world? Well, a really common one is called substitution. Your brain gets hit with a genuinely difficult question, like, is this stock a wise long-term investment? Instead of doing all that hard research, it secretly, without you even noticing, swaps in an easier question, like, hey, do I like this company's commercials? You answer the easy question, and you get this nice feeling of cognitive ease that tricks you into thinking you actually solved a hard one. And when these heuristics, these mental shortcuts go wrong, when our rule of thumb leads us to a predictable, systematic mistake, that's what we call a cognitive bias. I love this definition because it brings us right back to the beginning. A cognitive bias is basically an optical illusion, but for your reasoning. It's a glitch that happens because of the normal, efficient way your mind is designed to work. So, does all this mean you should never trust your gut? Not exactly. The real key here is experience. If you're a novice at something, say you're trying to pick a stock for the first time, your intuition is probably just a faulty shortcut. You should be skeptical. But an expert, like a seasoned stock trader who's seen it all, has built a much more reliable set of shortcuts. Their intuition has been trained by thousands of hours of experience, and it's far more trustworthy. And this really leads us to the most important takeaway of all. If we know how easily our own brains can trick us, the single best defense is a little intellectual humility. It's right here on the slide. Just being open to the idea that you might be wrong and allowing yourself to say, I don't know, especially in areas where you're not an expert. That is the absolute bedrock of becoming a better thinker. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Knowing that your brain is a master of substituting easy questions for hard ones, what's an easy answer you've been coasting on lately? What's a gut feeling or a quick judgment that might be worth slowing down for and challenging with a little bit of that effortful, more reliable